Oh, hey guys, I didn't see you there. This is Jimmy back front and center, and, wow, it sure has been quite a while since my last visit on Beyond. And let's just say that there's actually a pretty good reason for that. You see, much like the year prior, 2020 has been such an incredibly difficult and stressful excuse for a year for not only me, but the whole frickin' planet as well, and I hope you allow me to explain all about it. Now, as you all know, there's this disease called the coronavirus that's been spreading throughout the whole world, causing thousands of deaths, causing lockdowns everywhere, countless government restrictions, and not to mention turning everyone into toilet paper hungry psychopathic monsters. Yeesh. Though keep in mind that the coronavirus isn't exactly the only reason why this year has been an absolute joke of a disaster. Well, at least for my personal life anyway. You see, another thing you all probably know by now is that back in January, during a charity concert to raise money for an event I'm about to get into later, we were exactly 20 minutes close to losing a certain childhood legend we all look up to, going way back to when we were just a few months old, which just so happens to be none other than the one, the only, Gregory John Page. And oh my god, let me tell you guys something. I literally have never experienced anything so terrifying, heart-wrenching, unthinkable and horrible in my entire life, if you ask me. It was literally my worst nightmare come true, period. But we are all very lucky to still have him with us as of today, and even luckier for him that he actually got a second chance of life, something people usually don't get when they have a cardiac arrest. But that was certainly not all that made January the definition of a horrible start to literally anything. Oh no. That same sorry excuse for a month was also an absolute abomination for Australia in general too, as we watched many parts of the country burning thanks to huge bushfires spreading throughout the whole freaking land down under. Wow. I mean, just, wow. Well, at least that after a long dry summer, all the smoke around Australia eventually cleared up, and it's all thanks to the great work by our firefighters and some much needed rain. So there's that, I guess. But enough about all the dramas that occurred last year. How about we talk about what actually drove me into making this video? You see, in about October or November of that year, when Winkles World announced that he would be doing a 1000th GoAnimate video celebration, that was when I knew that it was time for me to stop lounging around, and not only get back on my feet, but also become the user I was destined to be. And that user being a true professional GoAnimate legend, much like Winkles World. Because here's the thing. From what I have seen in the past few years, it has come to me that I've always been considered one of the weaker members of the Australian good user community. I mean, yeah, sure, the Movie World video I made back in 2016 was a huge worldwide success. Same goes for the Dream World video. But even so, it still wasn't enough to get me up there with the big boys. And you wanna know why? Because they were still only two videos that were made a couple of years apart, which is not good enough. And about a month or two ago, I've learned a very valuable lesson. If you're gonna become popular by making top-notch content, then you have to do this sort of stuff all the time as opposed to only on certain occasions. Which is why that starting at the end of this month, I am hereby endeavoring to cut my schedule short to one video per fortnight. Not to be confused with that ridiculously overrated video game that a lot of people have apparently become addicted to. But that's not the point. Now, just to get it off my chest, I would like to point out that my original plan for this year was to kick off a new series of shorts that would focus on the adventures of various characters from my Misbehaving series, particularly a Scoville gang. The new series would be titled Tales of Goville. However, my good friend Mr. Dank Engine insisted that it would probably be best if I would revisit an old rejected idea I had in mind back in June of 2019 in order to bridge the gap between the Dream World video and this new series. This scrapped idea would have had something to do with a possible new installment of the Misbehaving franchise and You mind letting me finish the topic, please? Thank you. Now, as I was saying, this idea would serve as a follow-up to the events of the Dream World video. However, rather than having it set at a theme park like most Misbehaving films, this one would probably go for more of a camping adventure kind of direction, just to shake things up a bit. But unlike the Dream World video, however, the runtime of the film would be about the same length as your typical television film, Why, you may ask? Because there were some complaints about the Dreamworld video saying that it was too long. Or maybe it's just my dad. He gave me that complaint, and I'm not gonna lie, but I can't really say I blame him. Anyways, another thing that I'd like to point out about the project is that unlike last time around, the cast would probably be somewhat fewer, mostly for not only time-saving purposes, but it will also help the storyline flow better. And there is just one last thing that I'd like to inform you about regarding the new video, and that just so happens to be the Troublemaker. Now, before I get into who exactly the Troublemaker is, there is just one more thing that I should probably point out. And yes, I know I've been saying the words point out over 1,000,000 times already, but the thing is that I'm really trying as hard as I can to put everything I need to say as delicately as humanly possible without overlooking a single detail. Anyway, unlike the previous 4 entries in the series, this particular Troublemaker won't exactly be based on some jerk on YouTube this time around. Instead, he'll be based on this fictional character that I've personally never been really fond of going back to 2019. His name is Edward Skipper McGee, commonly known as Eddie. Now, I'm not exactly sure whether you guys are familiar with him or not, but in case some of you aren't, he's a main character from this old Cartoon Network show that I used to watch at age 6 or 7 called Ed, Edd n Eddy. So, yeah, I guess that's pretty much it for this video. And I hope you guys have an understanding of why I had some time off from Beyond. And I think you should probably stay tuned for what I have in store for you guys in the future. But until then, I'd like to thank you guys for watching this video. I hope it was worth your time. And I think I'm gonna have to wrap up for now. But like I said, thanks for watching. Be sure to leave a like, and maybe a comment below too. And don't forget to click that subscribe button and hit that notification bell. And I hope to see you guys in the next video.